Hello, guys. This is our next interview. Here is Tommy from Camellia Antidetect browser. Hi, Tommy.
Hello, Evgeny. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you here. Tell us more about your product.
So our main goal is to change the browser identity of the users. If you would like to manage multiple accounts online, it's not enough just to change your IP address, but you will have to change some other parts of the browser fingerprint as well. For example, geolocation API or WebRTC technologies can leak your real location if you are not using an anti-detect browser. It also makes it possible to manage several accounts at the same time. It will be very easy to save and load sessions back. And we have some other features we can later go on.
Yeah, I know you have a special feature which I have never met in other browsers. It's like intelligent spoofing. Can you tell us more about this feature? I think it's very important for our customers.
Yes, canvas fingerprinting is very popular for websites. They generate an image and based on the operating system, browser, and GPU setup, the rendered image will be different. And in order to spoof it properly, so you receive a different hash for your profiles, you can use noise, which is popular by other anti-detect browsers, but this noise is not really effective because websites with advanced technology such as machine learning can figure out that the canvas is spoofed. So we use another method called intelligent canvas spoofing, where we not just spoofing the value, but we are spoofing to a value which is like consistent with the other properties of the browser fingerprints. So websites will see it as a natural, consistent user. It can be useful, for example, if you are automating profiles on a Linux server and your profiles are Mac OS or Windows based, and websites won't recognize that this is emulated on a Linux server.
Yeah, I'd like to add, so this feature is for those who, for example, works on Windows and creates profiles on other operating system, for example, Mac OS, right?
It is probably the most useful for them. But if you are running like Windows profiles, it can be very suspicious if all your profiles have the same value. If you like turn it off, like some other vendors suggest, it's better to have the intelligence setting on, and your profiles will have a different canvas image hash, but all of them will be non-unique.
Yeah, I got it. That's really cool. I'd like to add the video demonstration. Next question about prices. I know you have really good prices, and for me as a user of anti-detect browser, you have unlimited number of accounts for even cheapest tariff plan, right? So tell us more about your pricing policy.
So yes, this is one of our main feature, that you can create as many profiles and you can run as many profiles at the same time as you want. The basic plan, which is just 59 euros, includes these unlimited profiles and all the fingerprint spoofing opportunities. So you can even have this intelligent spoofing feature and the capability to manage the profiles, so save them and load them back. If you are upgrading to the advanced package, you can get access to our mobile profiles as well, which can be emulated on a desktop device or on a real Android device or any virtual machines, which is an Android as well.
So as I understand, the difference between your tariff plans is, for example, basic and pro. For example, in pro, I will be able to work with mobile profiles, with some automation tools, right? But the number of profiles is unlimited.
Yes, for each of the plans. So only the features differs in the different plans.
Yeah, that's very interesting because your rivals, they usually change the pricing plan depending on amount of profiles, but you have another strategy. That's really interesting.
Yes, if you are working with thousands of Facebook profiles, we don't want to limit your number of profiles, your opportunities, so you can experiment and have as much profiles as you want. And also, if you are doing automation with our tool, which is also possible, then you probably will launch like 100,000 of profiles a day, and we still don't provide any limit on this.
Great. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And about the profiles, do you keep them locally or in a storage in the cloud?
So Camileo currently keeps the profiles locally. This is good because it is much faster. There is no big server load on our side, so we don't face like downtimes like some of other product vendors. And it is also safer because the data is only accessed by you and your team. And you can still solve like the problem of sharing the profiles with your colleagues because you can like set up automatic saving, and the saved profile files can be synced in the cloud with your coworkers.
So it means that you have a team mode, right? I can add my team members and work together in the same profiles.
Yes, so with one account, you can only log into on one computer at the same time. But if you upgrade and we can provide discounts for teams, then you will be able to log in with your coworkers.
Okay, great. Okay. And also, I know you have an interesting automation tool that's, as I know, differentiates you from others. Tell us more about this.
Yes, we believe our product is very strong on this area. This is very useful for scrapers or people who would like to automate tasks. So everything you can do on the graphical user interface in most of the anti-detect browsers. In the case of Camileo, all these actions can be automated via a local API. We are also providing like frameworks for JavaScript, Python or C# developers, so they can easily start to work with our product. So they can create these virtual browser profiles, start the browser, and then connect with any automation framework to them, such as Selenium, Puppeteer, or Playwright, and use the code you can search on the internet to do the actions in the browser. So you can, for example, log into several Facebook accounts automatically, and you don't have to make a single click on the graphical user interface.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. But from my side, I'm not a programmer, coder. For my understanding, for example, as I work, I am a media buyer. I have a programmer. And for example, if I want to automate Facebook or Amazon or TikTok, I can do this with you, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thanks. That's just for the part of audience who, like me, who don't know what is Selenium or Puppeteer like this. Great.
Yeah, mainly you will have to only search on, for example, Upwork. You can search for programmer who know what is Selenium, and you will know what are the rates for these developers, and then he will be easily integrate the solution with Camilio.
Cool. Great. So from my side, the last question is, could you provide a promo code or discount for iProxy customers?
Yes, definitely. We can provide 30% discount if you write to our support, or I think you can put into the video description coupon code that you can use during checkout for the first month.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the interview, for your time. I hope our audience will enjoy your product. See you next time with new features.
Thank you for having me here. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll show you how easy it is to automate browser activity with Camilio on websites with advanced protection. We can easily start different browsers with different IP locations and browser fingerprints, and then use the Selenium framework to browse automatically. Here I purchase my favorite sneakers. The websites I visit see my browsers as they are working from different computers from different locations. First, let me show you the limitations of the regular Selenium framework. Then I'll introduce Camilio by using its graphical user interface. After that, we'll see how simple it is to write code for Camilio. Last but not least, I'll show that Camilio is not only compatible with Selenium, but also provides a Puppeteer interface for browser automation. For the first demo, I create a Python project using PyCharm IDE, developer environment. I just import the Selenium package and start a browser with a local instance of Chrome. Then I make the browser open a bot detection website. The problem is that the website sees that I'm using Selenium WebDriver. Websites with advanced security won't let me browse automatically with a browser started by Selenium. Let's see how Camilio provides a solution to this issue. Camilio is a whole browsing platform that enables you to create virtual browser profiles. After logging into the graphical user interface, we can filter from hundreds of thousands of real-life configurations called base profiles. You can see profiles with different languages, browsers, and OS versions. I select a profile with Chrome browser and use English language. I can configure the browser fingerprint, for example, Canvas, WebGL, time zone, geolocation. Camilio provides good default values to start with, so I leave these as is and only set up a proxy. I'm going to use Bright Data as a proxy provider. I like their service because it's highly configurable for anyone's needs. They have cheaper data center proxies and excellent residential proxies. I prefer to use ISP proxies because they are never blacklisted, and I can set them up to use the same IP during the whole browsing session per each browser started by Camilio. Let's use a proxy from the United Kingdom. I can simply copy and paste the connection details to my Camilio Profiles edit page. See that the country code is provided in the username, and here I can set up a sticky IP with any random session ID. I can test the connection, and everything seems fine, so I start the browser. As you can see, my IP changed, and the browser's fingerprint as well. The website sees I'm browsing the internet on a Windows 8.1 device. And the best thing is that the presence of Selenium framework is completely hidden despite the browser can be fully automated with Camilio's Stealth WebDriver. So I'm going to show you how. This next section is about how to automate Camilio and connect to the browsers using Selenium Stealth WebDriver. First of all, you need to automate the actions of Camilio I previously showed. For example, creating profiles and starting browsers. To make this easier, a very handy Python package is available. This package is wrapping the local REST API of Camilio. These are HTTP endpoints that can be called from your code to automate the work with your browser profiles. This local API is available from any programming language, but we also created an NPM package for Node.js developers and a NuGet package for .NET developers. See our examples on GitHub to see all the features. For example, here it shows how to start a profile with a proxy with just a few lines of Python code. Now I start a new Python project in PyCharm. I use pip install to get the Camilio.local API client from PyPI. When I use automation features of Camilio, I start the Camilio command line interface instead of the graphical interface. Camilio.cli.exe is located in the program folder. As you can see, the CLI is ready to receive my commands through the local API I talked about earlier. You can see the API documentation now on localhost at port 5050. Here I can execute any command. For example, I try to list the profiles currently loaded into the Camilio application. The result is an empty array, as there are no profiles created yet. So in my Python code, I set up Camilio local API client instance that's going to communicate with Camilio CLI on the given port. I just import this client from the PyPI package. Then I can make my first request using the methods of the client. As you can see, the code completion feature will help you to find the method you need. First, I filter the base profiles. I'll search for Chrome profiles with American English language. Let's run the code. As you can see, the CLI has received the request, and I returned a list of matching base profiles for my filter criteria. This is very familiar when I have filtered the base profiles on the graphical user interface. Now I'm going to create a browser profile that browser fingerprint configuration is derived from, one of these base profiles. I use this builder to set up my request properly. I prefer the recommended defaults, but I also set up an HTTP proxy. I can simply enter the proxy connection details for the profile. I'll copy the data from Bright Data. I want to use IP addresses from the United States. This is set up by adding the country code to the username field. To ensure that I have the same IP address during the whole browsing session, I provide a random session ID. You can pass any random value here or generate it in your code. See the link for Bright Data's documentation of sticky IPs in the video description. Now as the request is ready, we can send it to the CLI with the client instance. Let's see it in action. The browser profile has been created. This is similar to when we have configured the profile's browser fingerprint on the GUI. Now we are ready to start the browser with the configured browser fingerprint. You can see the requests on the CLI's standard output. searching base profiles, then creating the profile, and then starting the browser. We can see that the IP has been changed for the browser and all parts of the fingerprint are consistent. For example, the time zone is spoofed. As I close the browser, the CLI gets notified about this event. Next thing is connecting to the browser with Selenium. For this, I install the official Selenium Python package. The connection can be made through Camilio by providing the profile's ID as a capability to the remote web driver. The command executor must be set to Camilio's port, so no session ID needs to be provided manually. These codes can be easily copied from the package's README file. Now I can use regular Selenium commands to control the browser, which is fully protected by Camilio's browser fingerprint spoofing technology. The provided website opens up, and I can see my favorite sneakers. Despite I use Selenium, websites cannot see that I'm using Chrome driver or Gecko driver at all. Now I finished the task with some regular Selenium commands, so the correct size of shoes will be automatically placed into my cart. If you're not familiar with Selenium, you can learn it easily from the web. You can find thousands of example codes for almost every task you want to perform. But this time you won't be blocked on more advanced sites because of the protection of Camilio. What I do here is use selectors to interact with the dropdowns and buttons on the website. Let's see it in action. Sorry for the glitch. Here I made a typo. Now I'm running the code again. The profile is starting and my Selenium code performs everything automatically. Sneaker site opens. My code selects the desired size and adds it to the basket. I can close browsers from my code as well. You can see that there are plenty of other features of Camilio. You can list your cookies so you can transfer them to some other systems and reuse them there. But the best part is that you can save a Camilio profile with all of its data to a profile file. So you can load back the fingerprint configuration with the browsing data, such as cookies. This way you can continue your work at any time, and you'll be logged into the sites you are already logged into. Here comes another powerful feature of Camilio. I can simply change the browser and its language by simply changing 3 parts of the code. I change Chrome to Firefox and then select language to Turkish. I also update the proxy configuration to get a Turkish IP. That was all. Now Firefox starts. And websites think that I'm browsing from Turkey. Camilio is also compatible with Puppeteer, which is another browser automation technology that became popular lately. To show you how Camilio works with Puppeteer, I'm going to use Node.js. Let's create a new project. an NPM package of the Camilio local API client is available. I can install it using the npm install command. I create a new JavaScript file and copy-paste the example code from the package's README file. This is basically the same as we did in the Python project. It creates a profile and starts the browser, but it uses Node.js code this time. Now I install and import the official Puppeteer package as well. The connection to the browser is similar to the way I use for Selenium. I can simply connect to the browser through Camilio using a WebSocket connection. Then I can control the browser with any Puppeteer command and enjoy the full protection of Camilio. Let me show you just a quick sneak peek of what our dev team is currently working on. In the upcoming versions, Camilio will support the automation of mobile profiles by emulating the browser on a desktop PC. Automation on Android devices is also in progress, but it is currently in a very early stage, so stay tuned for further updates in our upcoming videos. You can find more information by clicking the links in our video description.